Hello and welcome to episode 36 of the Genre Blender podcast. My name's Ryan.
I'm Kris, and today we have got a juicy one. It is storytelling in open world gaming, which is something that we both do, albeit very differently, I'm guessing. Just to be on brand for everything
Exactly.
that we do. But yeah, you proposed this topic to me a couple of days ago, and I was like, yeah, we both do open world gaming, and it's very passionate about the open world game. You more probably the storytelling aspect of it, and me just the more running around in an open world.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely an interesting one to talk about.
Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned a comment when I proposed this idea, and you said something like, "Oh, I can't believe we haven't done this one already," and I can't either because it's been in our notes probably since we started the podcast, whatever years ago. Yeah. So I found the actual note that we made, and it's basically just copy pasted it.
I know we've spoken about it like in just little snippets, but we just haven't done a dedicated podcast around it.
Yeah, 100%. And it's the reason I wanted to talk about it is because I've been playing a particular game. We'll talk about that soon. And that's basically all I've been doing. So I guess if we didn't do this topic, I wouldn't have a topic to talk about.
It'd just be that one game. And I would have no context about what was going on.
Yeah.
Just happy to be here. Cool. All right. Well, before we get into that, should we do a... I think you've just answered what you've been rewatching and playing without saying the name of the thing. I've done a little bit, but I also have lent into gaming pretty heavily the last month or so I've not done a lot of reading or watching either. Have you got anything outside of gaming?
Literally nothing.
Literally nothing.
So I will say, I haven't watched, so the Backlog Roulette pick from last episode was Moonlight for me as a movie. I haven't watched that yet on purpose because it took a little bit of mental willpower and a bit of a mental state that I don't have currently with some stuff that's going on in my life. So I've parked that. I will watch it, and I am wanting to watch it, but I will watch that before next episode. So hopefully we'll have a couple of movies to talk about then. And I'm still reading Contact, and I haven't read much of anything for the last couple weeks. And then I just picked it back up like a couple nights ago and started reading quite a lot. So I'll probably blitz through that pretty quickly and talk about that properly next episode. But yeah, I'm still chugging along with that. It's still good, but yeah, I haven't finished.
Well, I really haven't done sort of, I guess, similar. Also, just there's a lot of stuff happening life-wise at the moment. So I guess one thing I can talk about now is I have been helping in the back end of this anthology called Together is a Distant Star. So this was actually titled by another trans male friend of mine called Steve Hugh Westenra, and even though he doesn't have a story in here, he was the inspiration behind the title, which is kind of cool, a nice little tie-in. This is 12 authors, all got short stories in here. The theme is belonging, and this came about a couple of years ago, actually. There was a post being like, hey, let's represent queer, BIPOC, and female authors, because normally these anthologies come out and they're all white men. So we didn't want to do that. So very consciously took a step back. So I'm just helping with social media in the back end. There is another editor in there, Tom Mock, who is helping in the back end as well. But this story is all about these authors, which is really fun. So I've now read this, so I can say that I did read something this month. And there's just the quality of work in here. There's such a variety, but this is really set out quite nicely. This is just a proofread copy that I've got, but like each story has an about the author, an author note, illustrations in there. This is an Ingram, so it's nice and floppy.
Nice.
I've got a gloss cover coming to me just to do some comparisons, but that is releasing on May the 19th. So I've read that, and it's now available for pre-order everywhere, and you can go on, like, if you're on Goodreads or Storygraph, it's there for you to go and have a look at. So I did get to read that. I likewise have just had a book that I've been reading for, I don't know, a millennia at this point.
It feels like it.
Called Demon Star by Jesse Aragon, and it's really good and I'm really enjoying it, but just like my mental capacity right now, it's quite complex with the way that it's like demons versus gods, and are gods actually demons? And like lots of religious subcontext in there about how it can be weaponized, but how people still desperately want to cling to it. There's a lot of allegory in
Hmm.
it for an epic fantasy, essentially. So I'm finding it quite heavy, and I'm reading it very, very slowly. I'm hoping to have finished that in the next couple of days because it's a NetGalley e-arc, and I need to get a review out before the deadline, which is like in 18 days. So I've got a bit of time
Sure.
there. In terms of watching stuff, I finished season one of Six Feet Under. So I
Oh,
wanted to
cool.
make sure I did at least give it a season. I will continue on with it. Like I'm not rushing back to it, but I'm
Hmm.
enjoying every time that I pick it up. So the acting is fantastic. I like the quirky
Hmm.
humor in there. We've just started to have, this is spoilers, I guess, but it was in 2001, I think it started coming out.
It's
So
old. Yeah.
apologies, yeah. We've just started the storyline. I don't know if it's a storyline, don't tell me. But there's been a bit of tension because one of the characters has come out as gay, and one of the other characters is quite religious and been like, don't talk to me about that. And I don't know whether that's going to. I feel like there's a lot to unpack with this character and the shame he feels around his own homosexuality and being. He's been so subdued for his whole life, and he himself thinks that he has to do that. But I can just see these little cracks coming out, and I hope that he just gets to accept himself. And like that's what I'm there for. It's like I just want this guy to be happy. Watch that
Yeah.
journey. So
Yeah.
I'll continue on, if nothing, and to see what's happening with a particular character who has, I think he's schizophrenia or bipolar.
I think it's bipolar if I remember
Bipolar.
right, but it's been a while.
And
So
that actor has done so well
yeah.
playing that part. Anyway, I'm just gushing because I know Ryan likes the series. And then I
It's true.
watched the movie that I said I was going to watch on Swift Horses. Interesting, different than what I thought it was going to be. Set in the 1950s, it's almost like a parallel of two characters who are, again, kind of spoiler, queer, but they, and like have addictions. But we're following them in their own lives, and there's it just sort of cuts to the parallels that they have. Very much a me movie, very much like sort of character studies, really looking deeply. No real plot to it. We're just following these characters as they go through very messy lives. And then I watched a movie called Companion, and it was schlocky horror, and I was like, it knew what it was. It didn't try to be anything else, and I had a really good time with it. So this is Jack Quaid and Sophie Thatcher, I think. She's sort of an up and coming actor at the moment, and it's sci-fi. Like he basically orders this companion robot who doesn't know that she's a robot, and there's this big like murder mystery thing behind it. It's kind of thrillery. The robots are in on it. Like it was just fun. It was just a lot of
Huh.
fun, and I went into it thinking it was going to be crap and like picking up a B grade horror movie, but I ended up having a really good time with it. Uh,
Nice.
so I'd recommend it if you need some brain candy. That's
Yeah.
all it was. It was just brain candy,
That,
but it was
that
good.
sounds pretty perfect right now. So I
Yeah,
might actually note that down. Don't let me forget. It's that sounds good.
it was fun. You don't. It's and I didn't pick up my phone during it, which is interesting. Like
Mhm.
I was telling Ryan before we um, started recording is that I'm trying to do things more intentionally and just like putting my phone away when I'm watching something or I'm playing something or I'm reading something. My phone is not near me, so I don't have that knee jerk to scroll and
Yeah.
second screen stuff. But I guess let's get into gaming. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Let's.
And
Yeah. The
I
one and
also have been just open world gaming, so I guess that's perfect for this
right.
topic.
Well, how timely that is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
My one and only game that I've been playing for the last it's literally been like the last month. I've been doing really nothing else. So spoiler alert, which is not a spoiler at all because I did talk about it last
So yeah,
episode.
you did.
Yeah, I did. So I've been playing Starfield and nothing else. That's all I've been doing in any moment of downtime that I have. No other games, nothing else, no books, movies, anything. It's just been Starfield. And I've been loving it. So obviously I'm playing on the PlayStation because that's what it came out for. I don't think I mentioned, no, I wouldn't have last episode because I wasn't even thinking about it. I upgraded my PlayStation 5 to the PS5 Pro. I've been talking about it on the Discord, of course, but yeah, for everyone else listening. So I did that because it was a really cool deal and I made the most of it. I was thinking about doing this like I don't know, last year. And then I decided not to because there was like rumors of the Steam machine and there was, other things going on in the gaming sphere. But then basically I've decided to just double down, just ride out this console generation and get as much as I can out of the PlayStation 5 since I already have it. So I upgraded it. But part of that reason was because Starfield takes advantage of the power and performance of the PS5 Pro, and it looks freaking amazing.
Did you initially had it on the Xbox, right? That's why you bought the Xbox.
Yeah.
And then you didn't have as good a gaming experience with it. So it's now handling better on. Is that right?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's fine. It was on the Xbox Series S that I bought that console just for it, not the X.
Yeah, okay.
I just cheaped out and got the S just for this one game.
If you were just getting one game, then it's
that's
expensive enough as it is.
Oh, that's it. It wasn't too bad. I got it on a good deal, so it was like around $300 or something. And I'm like, okay, I can play Game Pass, as well. And I did that for a little bit. But then ultimately I wasn't really getting much value out of it. And Starfield ran at 30 frames a second. And it was, it's okay. But obviously I knew it could look better. So I kind of just put it down, hoping one day that I could play it on like a PC or hopefully PlayStation. And then, it came out of nowhere. They announced it for PlayStation. I didn't even get the announcement at the time. I read about it later and I was like, oh, wait, it's coming out for PS5. So, I basically pre-ordered and got it day one. They've been doing nothing ever since, except Starfield.
I mean, at least you're enjoying it, right?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been playing 2 games that I will talk about more in here, but because we've got like a question, what are you playing right now? So this is a spoiler alert for that question, I guess.
We can jump around. It's fine.
Yeah. So the 2 I've been playing right now there's a game called Winrose that I've spoken about before, but I was playing the demo version, so early access has dropped. I played a little bit of that. I will go back to it. My poor laptop is about 7 years old and it is struggling. it is just screaming every time I turn this thing on because it's a newer game and it's like, please, I can't. I'm overheating. It's too hot in here. I can't do this. So I get about 2 hours on there before I have to cool the poor thing down, to the point where I was looking at gaming PCs yesterday. I was like, because I want a Mac for writing. Like I want a laptop for writing. And I was like, I've got the Steam Deck. It doesn't play AAA games all that well. I mean, it's fine, I suppose, but like for what I will use it for, I want battery life for like the games I can port around.
Sure.
Gaming PC next? Is that stupid to have this much tech in the house when I don't understand tech, potentially? Anyway, I'm living my best pirate life. I have died by boar at least 1,000 times already.
Nice.
So that's been fun. And then on the other end of that, I'm playing a really cutesy game called Dinkum, which is like Animal Crossing in Australia. And when I first logged into it, a crocodile bit me and I was like, it is Australia.
Yep, Aussie, down under.
And like the wildlife attacks each other as well. Like it's so funny. You walk around, I'm like, I need, I don't know, meat or bones or whatever, and a dingo will be chasing an emu. In the background.
That's appropriate.
And I'm like, I'll just follow that, shall I? Get the thing that I need.
That's so funny. I remember the announcement for Dinkum, or like the first time I knew about it, which was in a trailer in, I think it was a Nintendo Direct, and that was years ago.
It was ages ago.
And yeah,
I think we watched that Direct together.
Yeah, because we messaged each other afterwards. We're like, oh, that looked fun. So that's cool that you're playing it.
But I always I don't know, I was so poo-pooing it because I was like, Animal Crossing, like I played it for about 80 hours and then I've never looked back and I probably never will look back. It was good for what it was, and then I just lost interest. This is essentially the same thing, except it's open world. And it's, I mean, you're still fighting capitalism like you do in Animal Crossing. But there was always something in the back of my head being like, I want to give it a go. Like, I just want to try it. But I'm having a blast with it. Super casual. The Aussieisms in there on the nose, but to the point where Australians would really enjoy it. So you've got like an animal caretaker called Erwin, who's a blonde boy. And I was like, right, okay, cool. Okay. Poor Bob has just got Bob just got put into Dinkum without his permission, I'm sure. But
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's been fun, and I've been playing Traveler's Rest with Jim on Steam Deck. So it is a game that doesn't support in-game like voice chat, so we've had to like be calling on Discord while I've been playing it here. But now I can literally play it in the same room that she is, which is great. Took a while to get used to the controls, but when I did, it's been good.
Nice.
That's the only game I've played on the Steam Deck so far.
Okay, well, I was going to ask because the news to everyone listening, Chris got a Steam Deck. I don't think that's something we talked about previously, but also I haven't had an update on your Steam Deck. So, do you have at least a couple of words to mention about your experience?
I mean, look, I love handheld gaming. We did that episode. It's probably my preferred method of gaming just because it's convenient and I can move around, and I like parallel play. So, like, I like being in spaces with people, but not necessarily talking to that person. So, it really facilitates that. So yeah, I've downloaded a couple of things. I haven't tried anything that doesn't have like the green tick of compatibility on there yet. But yeah, I've downloaded some stuff to play, and I'm sure my Backlog Roulette, like I've bought like 4 or 5 games to try. So it's just that backlog just keeps growing.
That's it. We created the Backlog Roulette to try to like get through our backlogs, but yeah, it's not really happening that way, is it?
Spending money, like we keep buying
adding
more
to
shit. Yeah.
It's okay. It's all in good fun. Cool. I look forward to more updates about your Steam Deck, and don't worry, dear listeners, I did actually send Chris a whole bunch of tips and tricks about getting the most out of the Steam Deck. So he's set.
I've done none of so far.
Yeah, so. That's okay. No rush.
I can see this. I can see me bringing it to your house, and you being like, "Just give it to me."
I think half the fun is just like figuring, because there's not a lot to do. Like it's very simple as far as like tinkering goes. You don't really have to do a lot. But yeah, it's good to know, like, just like the TDP and changing the, to get the most out of your battery life when you're on the go, that kind of thing. But it's pretty simple.
All right. Well, let's go. Let's talk about open world games.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'll start with, we'll talk about Starfield a little bit as we go through, as my point of reference. But let's talk about it in a more general way first. So you put a pretty good definition of open world gaming. So do you want to start with that one?
Yeah, look, just for people who don't know the concept of open world games, and I think because I also, before really delving into it a lot, I played a lot and I didn't really know that's what I was playing back in the day. So open world games are non-linear at all. That's sort of like the sell there, is that players are able to sort of traverse lands or areas or environments without a lot of restriction. Like, you're not restricted to one particular path or one particular storyline. You don't need to complete. There might be an overarching storyline. I think there is in a lot of open world games that I've played, but you don't have to play that in any particular order. You have freedom. That's the main concept, is you've got freedom there. So there are often things like side quests in there, a lot of in-game objectives, a lot of things you can do outside of the main story quest, and we'll get to pros and cons of that particular point as we go through. But yeah, essentially you rule your own path. There's a lot of like cool things involved in it, but it's you and an expansive world.
Yeah, definitely. And I 100% agree. I think it's basically it's two things for me. It's what you just said. So non-linear gameplay, being able to choose the order that you want to do things, or not choosing things if you don't want to do particular things. Often that's a choice in itself. And I think also, I guess I would consider this a requirement, though I think there are some games that would challenge this, but a focus on exploration and like rewarding the player for exploring. I think they tend to go hand in hand with open world games as well. But you also made a good point. Like, there are some blurring of the lines here, and I think there are sort of 3 categories or genres of games that kind of have some similar things to them, but they are also separate types of games. And those are open world games versus sandbox style games, which I think you typically will lean more towards.
I tend to, go into sandbox territory. Yeah.
Pocopia is a good example of that, and I don't typically play these kinds of games, but I loved that one, and that's very much a sandbox style game, as well as kind of simulation games, because you can argue a lot of open world games kind of have that simulation vibe to them. Starfield is definitely like that. Sometimes you'll come across NPCs, for example, that kind of have their own schedules and do things at different times of the day, and that kind of stuff. So but there are games
just for money in Stardew Valley. Then I was like, why are you never at your shop ever?
That's it. Or there's like I remember in like Skyrim, or probably Oblivion as well, where you try to go and visit a store. It's like it's locked, it's closed. You can't go in there because it's after hours. That kind of thing. So
how dare the NPCs have lives? They're there to serve me.
So I'll go bother them in their house and wake them up because they're sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
so I guess I put the example of Animal Crossing in here because I was looking up like are these things considered open world games? And Animal Crossing to me, I was like, it's not, but it is because you do have freedom. There is zero plot to Animal Crossing except
mm.
for like treat Daddy Nook as your Lord and Savior, but and give him all of your bells always. But it's confined. You are confined to one
Mhm.
space. You don't explore anywhere. There's even a net when you're in the ocean, so you can't get further than that.
Yeah, true.
And then I was thinking, okay, so that's sort of sandboxy, whereas Dinkum would consider open world because the map is huge. You
Mhm,
can't get through that map in an in-game day unless you've
mhm.
got modes of transport, and you are free to do whatever you want. Your main story isn't even a story, it's suggestions of what you can do. So it's just sort of free.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you have to pay off your debt before you buy new things, which is a really good lesson to the Australian government. Pay off the
Maybe they
debt,
should play this
pay
game.
off the debt before you invest in new shit. But you're still like just building up this set of different islands and this, yeah. So like that to me would be an open world. I chucked Grimshire in here because it's penned and it's sold as an open world game. But to me, I don't know if I would put it in that category. I would go sandbox only because yes, there are side quests that you can do, but there is one main storyline element, and that is quite linear from beginning to end. You are following one
Mm,
storyline, and that has a clear end. It's not
right.
like you keep playing at the end, you roll credits, and like that's it. There's nothing else to do once you've done that. So even though it's penned as open world, I disagree. I would say that's not an open world game, even though there's several things to explore and do.
That's
You can't
interesting because
you can't not do the main storyline. Whereas in an open world game, you're not
I guess
forced into
that's the
doing the
difference.
main storyline.
Because I was going to say, because Starfield also has a main storyline, but I guess the difference is you can just choose not to do that.
Yeah, like a lot of open world games do have an overarching storyline,
Yeah.
and a lot of things will pull you back into that, but you don't have to do it. You can spend
Mm,
your time doing other things.
yeah.
Whereas if you don't do the Grimshire main storyline, everyone dies and it's not fun anymore.
Okay. I guess that's a choice in its own
I
right,
mean, I
but yeah,
guess
yeah,
it becomes
fair.
very dystopian.
It becomes a different game. Yeah. That's great. Um, so I put in here, some, to list out some of our favorite open world games, just to sort of give an overview of like the kinds of games we've played in this category in the past. I did not realize how many open world games I've actually played and loved, because I came into this topic thinking, Starfield is sort of because I dropped away from open world games for a while, and I'll get into why in a little bit. And it was kind of like a bit of a return to open world gaming for me. But I'd forgotten, how many of these I used to play back in the day, and I think it was like during like maybe the PS3, Xbox 360 era.
It had a
That
huge
yeah,
boon with Elder Scrolls or Skyrim or one of them.
yes.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert, Oblivion. Yeah, it was my first one.
which is
So
so
Elder Scrolls
fancy.
4 Oblivion. 2006, this came
Yeah, it
out.
was around then, right? I actually don't know
And I
when
put
this
so
one.
many hours into it. It was actually one of the first games that Steph and I played together not together, but at the same time,
Mhm.
back on PC, back in 2006, I guess it was.
It's
So
so
we hadn't,
clunky on PC too.
yeah. I remember it looked like it was, obviously I had a PC that could run it, but it wasn't great. But I sunk so many hours into that game. Like it was really the first one and kind of showed everyone what open world games could be and what they could do. Um,
I guess
so
to
yeah,
point out here, it's different than the MMO RPGs as well, because a
yeah,
lot of those are open world, but they're a different
mm.
concept. Like it's a free for all for everyone, whereas an open world is like a free for all for you as an
Yeah.
individual.
That's actually a good point to make. I didn't even think to bring that point up, but like I played so many of those around that same
Hmm.
time as well,
I was
when
thinking
they
of
were
RuneScape
plentiful.
specifically,
Yeah, yeah,
and I mean, World of Warcraft is still banging around, but
yeah.
yeah, I remember the old like just clunky graphics of RuneScape remind me of the clunky graphics of like the old Elder Scrolls.
Yeah. There was, I guess, around that time, and I think maybe this is partly what contributed to how many open world games there were, was that the graphics were starting to look really good. So from
Mhm.
around, that time, and then Xbox 360, PS3, yeah, like you started to have like these big 3D open worlds that looked not, I mean, to our standards now, not like the real world or anything, but like at the time they looked really good. So I think that helped sort of make that genre of games really popular. Another one that I loved around the same time was Bully. I don't know if you've ever seen or played Bully. It's a Rockstar game, so the makers of Grand Theft Auto, but it's set in a school. And I loved this game. I still love this game. It's one of the greatest games of all time for me. And I think also I have really good memories of it too. So that always helps. But yeah,
There as well, right?
yeah, it was around the same time. So yeah, 2006. But yeah, it's basically GTA, but in a school. So think of that what you will. Um,
And I definitely
I have many more to list, so yeah, go for it.
like give me your list, because this is not something that I see you gravitating towards, being such a story driven
Mm.
player, like as a gamer. It's really interesting to me that you've enjoyed a lot of these. So please, by all means.
Yeah, well, I'll just list them, and then we can talk about them, and you can mention some more of yours. But Fallout 4 was a big one for me. So that was 2015. It's a Bethesda game, of course. That was probably the one that I held up here for a
Is
while.
that third person or first person, or can you play as both?
It's well, so technically first, but I think you can play. I think that was one of the first that they brought in that you could play in third person, but it's janky as hell. And it's the same with Starfield. You can play it in third person, but it's janky, and you probably don't want to do
I
it that
have
way.
Fallout 4, but I haven't played it because of the
Because of
first
that.
person aspect. Yeah.
Yeah. You could probably do it. And if you have it on PC, obviously there's lots of mods for all of the Fallout games and all the Bethesda games really. So yeah, there's people doing some great things with them, but I think you could probably get through it in third person. LA Noir. I don't know if you've ever heard of
Oh,
LA
I have
Noir.
actually played it. Yeah,
Oh
yeah, that was
wow.
good.
Okay.
Yeah. I would have
Yep.
thought that was story driven though. Was it open?
So this is that's the thing because it's technically like we think of it, and when I think back to it, I don't think of it as an open world game, but you could walk around. It was kind of open world in the sense that you could walk
Mafia
around
in
it.
the same aspect has one big.
Yeah.
I guess that's a blend, as in the world you
Mhm.
could explore. But I mean, we're getting into
Mhm.
blends a bit later. But okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's on the list. And then Assassin's Creeds, all the Assassin's Creeds. 2 was my favorite. But Assassin's Creed Odyssey was one of the newer titles that I think worked really well as an open world game. It was one of my favorite ones. The Yakuza games, I've played Yakuza 0. That's the only one that I've played so far, but
Yeah,
very much.
I just.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They're great game. Like, story, very much heavily story games, but also you can just walk around and like go to the arcade and play arcade games if you want, or like do all the mini games. Go to a karaoke bar, if you want. So very
I
open
still
world.
go to a karaoke bar in game.
in game, not in real life.
No one needs to hear my voice,
Um,
even in a game.
and then yeah, exactly same. And last two I'll mention. So Cyberpunk 2077. Very, very much an open world. You're still confined to Night City, really, for the most part. But it's definitely an open world game. You can kind of do whatever you want. And Ghost of Tsushima was probably the most recent open world experience that I've had that I really enjoyed. Probably about the same amount as Assassin's Creed Odyssey for me. Those two are pretty on par.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's been a big week.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you like more
There's a
than I
lot.
thought you would
Yeah. I
in
surprised
that
myself too.
category. I'm
Mhm.
still not convinced about LA Noire to look
Yeah.
into
No, that's
that.
fair. That's probably the one that I'd look at and go, does it deserve to be on
Does
that
it
list? But
fit?
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I really liked it. I
Mm.
played it ages ago, like, when it
Mhm.
came
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
But I love that.
2011.
I love noir. Like,
Mhm.
I as a concept, not so much at how women were treated during that time period, but I do love like noir, just the concept, the suits, the styles and stuff.
Yeah.
I really like the Mafia games. I'd like to play the new one
Mhm.
that came out. So yeah. Um, for me, you mentioned GTA, so I'm gonna go the other way because why wouldn't I? At this point, I was a big Saints Row guy, so
Nice.
I've played many of these. This is probably one, and we'll get to sort of games that draw that line of linear storytelling, but also having an open world. And I would say this franchise is quite good
Mhm.
with doing that. I assume similar to GTA. I've never played a GTA game, so I don't. know if that is a similar case. But Saints Row, it's so dumb. And they know it's dumb and they don't try and hide it, but
Yeah.
it's an open world. You have run of an entire city and you build up your gang, essentially. If you don't like violence in your games, this one's not for you. Uh, and then one that I really liked, and I didn't like the sequel, is Breath of the Wild. So Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
I really enjoyed the exploration element here. And I did a lot of exploring in areas that I had zero business exploring that early on in the game,
Nice.
and quickly learnt that levels were a thing
Hmm.
in the game.
Yeah.
And another one that I'll mention, and I've played this twice and I've never finished it. And this is one of the downfalls of open world games for me personally, which we'll get to. But the Kingdom of Amalur, I think it is, Reckoning. So this is the Re-Reckoning. They've now re-released the Re-Reckoning on
Oh.
Switch, and this had a bug in it because I was playing this at the same time as a friend, and there was a bug they just couldn't fix. And I guess that's why I like Steam games, is they will generally go in and fix those bugs
Right.
if you report them. But there's like one cave that's it. You just can't get out of it if you do a certain thing.
Oh no.
There's no way to
Game breaking
get
bug.
out of it. I assume they've fixed it now because we're all online, so like you can download updates and stuff. But yeah, I haven't gone back to it, but I have played it, started it twice, and that gave me a very similar feeling to Fable, which is probably my all-time favorite open world experience and example that we'll give later when we come up to a different sort of segment. But yeah, Fable is the OG for me. I cannot wait for the new one.
Yeah, with a new one. Yeah. Which Fable is your favorite? Are you talking about the original Fable?
I liked Fable 2. It's probably
Okay.
my favorite. I liked 3. I don't think it was as good as 2 was. And I've gone back and I've played the first one. I haven't played it since the 10th anniversary edition came out because it was quite janky when I played that first one. But I'm looking forward to the new one that comes out hopefully this year.
I don't, when I think back to it, just like you were saying about L.A. Noire, and when I think back to Fable, and I don't have as much experience with any of the Fable games, they all kind of blur together for me. I don't remember which is which. And I don't think I ever completed any, maybe the first one, I can't remember. But I don't think of them as open world games. I think of them as, I don't know, like you're contained in different areas, but I could be completely misremembering. So yeah, are they like full open world games?
Yeah, they're pretty open world. The thing with the Fable games, and like we'll get to this, but the main quest is quite linear. Like the main thing that you do is quite linear, but you don't have to do it.
Right.
You can just spend your time kind of like, a lot of people got into Skyrim around the time I was into Fable, where you can fill your time up with other things, other quests, and you can build up other skills and whatever. You don't have to do the main storyline, but it does tend to like shepherd you in occasionally, being like, hey, remember this thing that you should be doing? No, I'm petting the dogs over here. Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, kicking a chicken.
Yeah.
Busy. Yeah.
Oh, the chickens.
You mentioned something though that I just wanted to come back to for a second, which is with Zelda. I think you were talking about how like you can go visit places that you didn't intend, or that you probably shouldn't go visit, or maybe not so early because you're too early a level. I think that's something to be said for open world games, particularly games like Breath of the Wild and a lot of Bethesda games too, where you can kind of see something in the distance and you can actually go there. Like that's an actual location, a place that you can go. So if you can see it, you can get there. And there's something cool about that. And I'm feeling that way in Starfield right now too, where there's nothing that's really off limits. Like, there's probably things or places you shouldn't go because you're too low level, but you can if you want. Like that kind of feeling is quite cool.
Playing Dragon's Dogma, and I've done it a few times. I'm like, oh, nope, gotta go this way. There's a griffin up there that I can't defeat. Just gonna carry on over here. Yes, we'll get to some of the things that I don't love open world games.
Okay,
in a
interesting.
sec.
Yes.
But before we do that, we should talk about what we do like, because it's pretty clear that we both enjoy this type of gaming. And as with everything, it has pros and cons. So let's talk about some of the things we do like about it. What draws us to the open world game? Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I'll use Starfield as a point of reference here, just because it's what I'm playing right now, and it kind of embodies all of the things that I love about open world games, like all of the ones that I've just listed, and it does them like it has this like really good ratio of all of those things that make it really good. And there's one big reason I wanted to talk about this particular topic this week, and it's mostly to do with the way open world games allow a level of immersion and escapism that no other kinds of game really allow. Like I love, and we'll come back to this, I'm sure, but I love the Mass Effect games, as everyone in my life knows. I wear my N7 like a brand, basically, at this point. And those games are not open world games at all. They're very linear. And I love them, and I love the story, and you know, I'll come back to all the reasons why I love them in a minute. But they don't, even those games, even though I hold them up here, you know, on a pedestal, basically, to the point at which I compare every other game to them, they probably still don't immerse me in the world the way that Starfield or, you know, a lot of these open world games do. And I think there's something to be said about that, right? Because like right now, I'm dealing with some stuff in my life, and the open worldness of Starfield and that level of immersion is just such a fantastic thing to have right now. So I can just escape in this world and not think about the real world at all for like a couple of hours. And that's great. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. Like it's so helpful. Like, you know, if we talk about mental health, things like that, it's so good to be able to have that thing that you can just turn your brain off. You're in this world, you're living in this other world, or I guess universe for Starfield, that nothing else can touch, you know, for as long as you want to. So yeah, the immersion, the escapism, that's number one for me, for sure. The biggest benefit.
You put creating your own stories in here, and this is something that I do subconsciously all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess as a writer and somebody who's looking for inspiration, you know, all day, every day, whether I know it or not, you do create your own little stories within stories. So
Yeah.
an open world allows for that freedom to do that. You're not restricted to one particular thing. So using Fable as an example to try and argue that it is an open world game, you know, you've got this main quest where you are to be a good person or a bad person in Albion, but you're given a lot of responsibilities and wars and things that are happening in the background. Or you could go and just bake pies for 12 hours in a day. And like my brain will take this concept of this, and all you're doing is making money so you can go and like get cool armor or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, maybe I did stop in this town and they've got a particular problem that they need sorted, but to do that, you know, they actually just need someone to feed pies to 1,200 people because and like my brain will start like building stories around this character.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of fun, and a lot of open world games just allow for, particularly, actually I'm not going to say there's no age limit on it, but I did it a lot when I was younger, where I would just start being like, oh, this element is cool. What if that was here and I could do this with it? And like just playing with that in my brain. And then all of a sudden I've been baking pies for 3 hours in real world time because I've been telling myself this like story while I've been doing it. And then I had to go to bed and I was like, oh, that's probably a waste of 3 hours.
No,
but it was
helpful in that moment. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can build up like a whole backstory. Like it leans into like the role-playing elements that a lot of these games have, you know, where, you know, my character in Starfield is kind of like a, you know, a bit of a rascal, a bit of a scallywag, you know, space scoundrel type of person.
Love
but also, yeah, me, right? But also he has like a, you know, a bit of a heart of gold. So he'll go and help, you know, people where he can. So like there was this quest that I encountered that I was talking about with a friend of the show, Jack, on the Discord just recently. So slight spoiler if you don't want to know anything about any of the quests in Starfield, but it's not really a spoiler. There was this ship that you encounter just by nature of just like happening upon it on your way to like another quest. And anyway, they're basically a generation ship that have been, you know, floating around for the last 200 years trying to, you know, get to their destination to inhabit this world. And when they get there, they realize, oh, someone else has already inhabited it. There's other people on this planet that they had claimed. And then you kind of had to be like the liaison between like the people that have inhabited the planet and the people on this generation ship that want to you know, take over this planet. And yeah, like there's a little mini story just in that as just one quest of probably thousands of quests in this game. You know, but like how you approach it depends on like the character that you've built, you know, the kind of character that I've made and what I'm role playing as. So you can kind of have this like little story that you've made about how you approach that, that quest, that story. But there's also like these little mini, stories like, as you just progress through the story as well. Like, you just encounter things, and the stuff that I encounter on my playthrough or one of many playthroughs might be completely different to someone else, right? And then we can kind of talk about that and, oh, how did you do that thing? And, oh, this is what my character did. And that's cool.
I mean, yeah, there's so many reasons to enjoy it, and like I also really like the exploration aspect because
Yeah.
I'm not a risk taker. Anyone who knows me, like in real life, not a risk taker, very calculated about what and when I do it. I don't have that issue in an open world
In
game,
games.
and I just want to like go and touch everything and see how it all works, and then get really frustrated if I can't do it. So that element of like, oh, there's something on the horizon, like, oh, shiny, excellent, I'm gonna go and look at that. Whereas in my real world, if that were to happen, I'd be like, let's look if it's safe there. Let's look if particularly being, trans, like, are we even allowed in this particular
Yeah.
part? Whereas I can just like pick up rocks and then get stung by a scorpion or whatever in a game, and I'm like, no, that sucks. I probably should have done that. But you don't have that in like any of the real world connotations. So
Yeah.
I like doing that here, but I have definitely like spit me in the ass times that I can count in an open world game. But I just love that, and like experiencing different terrains, and particularly how different um, artists and publishers and producers have depicted a particular thing. Like we've all seen a desert 100 times, but there are ways that people were depict, like the Australian desert, going back to Dinkum, it's really red and vibrant, and there's minerals all throughout it, and there's snakes and spiders, and what you would see in a desert. Or if you're going into like a Middle Eastern desert, it's sort of like that softer sort of sand, white sand that you're looking at camels walking across. So just how different people will depict those different terrains. Like I'm a sucker for just exploring the same thing that has been shown to me in a different way amongst many different games. Because again, like you can think of several rainforests that you've been in, and they're all sort of like a little bit different. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, for
but
sure. Yeah, the exploration element is huge. And yeah, that's another reason I love Starfield, because it's like it takes exploration and then just like multiplies it times 1,000, whatever.
there's a lot of
I
room in
think
space. There's a lot of
yeah,
things to see.
yeah. I just like the idea of like having a ship that you can go anywhere,
Mhm.
like that concept. Because like I don't know if anyone listening to this knows, I don't drive. Like I don't. Uh, if I leave the house, I have to plan. I'm like held by bus timetables and train timetables. That's how I have to live my life. So being able to just like get on my ship and just like get the hell out of here, it's like off to another planet. Like it's just a cool concept, and yeah, the exploration of that is just cool.
It's Tuesday. I don't like this planet anymore. I'm going. I'm going out for a coffee on, I don't know, Neptune. Like,
Yep,
peace.
that's it. Go visit the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, and I guess the last one we had here was freedom of choice, which I think we really touched upon. And that you just do what you want, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't.
yeah, and you won't know until you
Yeah.
try it and take a risk. I think though, like just on that note, like the choosing not to, like the negative of choice is also a choice. Like, as we were talking about, like you can choose to or not to play like the main quest line. In Starfield, it's definitely optional in the sense that you can just not if you don't want to. Like there are obviously reasons why you might want to, but you could just completely ignore it and just go like make some money and grab a ship and go explore and then gather materials and make an outpost and anything else. So yeah, like choosing not to do something, that's also a choice. Ignoring parts of the game you're not interested in, that's pretty cool.
So, is there anything that you don't like about the open world game experience? Look, we just have the pros and cons, right?
I think we've got a pretty good list of
Which,
also the things that we don't
and
like, or things that we don't necessarily dislike, but they're like not the strong points
yeah,
of
yeah.
open world games.
Um,
I like your first one because I think that one
the
speaks
first,
volumes.
look. an open world game, whilst I do gravitate towards probably sandbox and open world are on par. Like they're the two types of games, or like survival. If there's any sort of survival element, I'll jump into that. I will generally give between 10 to 30 hours of my life to an open world game. And the first point that I have, which is its downfall, is just the chaotic overwhelm of it all. So I will
Yes.
go and I'll like, this is just me talking about how I game. I'll pick up a bunch of quests and then I'll be like, hang on a minute. What am I meant to be doing? Because I've completely lost the whole point of being here. And then I'll just go and explore. And then like once I've done what I need to do there, I'll never look at this game again ever in my
Yeah.
life. Or I might try again, or because of that overwhelming factor, I might start again. But because I've already fatigued myself on the first run through, I won't get very far. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes the opposite of that will happen. I've recently started playing Dragon's Dogma, and I will go back to it, or maybe it'll be what I'm talking about now. The first time I played it for about 10 hours. I got overwhelmed. I put it down. This second time that I've gone in, I played it on the Switch, which means I can play in different formats. I can play it on the TV or walking around with me. I'm about 30 hours into it, and I'm much clearer on what I'm meant to do. But still, there's a lot of things vying for your attention in an open world
Yeah.
game. So to the point where you just go, oh, I'm actually not going to do any of this. So,
Yeah. Go do something else.
yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of open world games live and die by their like quest log system.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if it gets a little bit overwhelming in there, it just makes you not want to bother. I've definitely had that with some Ubisoft games, which is the second point on this list.
Is bad for it.
Because they literally feel like work to me. Great example of this is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I didn't finish. I put
I just tried a couple times. She can't do it.
It's my least favorite Assassin's Creed game, and it's not even close. I tried so very hard, and it followed on from Odyssey. So I was quite excited to play it, and it's Vikings, instead of ancient Greece. But it literally felt like work because there was just like this endless barrage of quest markers, things everywhere. There's too much. And the actual map as well is really big. So not only do you have a lot of, space to explore and go and do quests in, but then you'd open up the map and there'd literally be like, it was less map and more quest markers. You couldn't see the map for the quest markers, so this is a very Ubisoft thing in really all of their games, but in this one it was really egregious and I couldn't finish that game. And yet I sunk about probably a good 60 hours into that game and I didn't get anywhere near close to finishing it.
Fair amount of hours. Like that. I guess there's a lot of commitment to an open world game too if you're going to complete it. Well, I am a colossal just do the storyline and leave. Like I don't feel the need to go back, or I get overwhelmed and just never finish anything.
Yeah.
Sure. Trying to think of. I mean, there's plenty of games that I've played where Kingdom of Amalur is probably one of them, where you just pick up quest after quest after quest. Dragon's Dogma, if you're not careful, you're picking up a bunch of side quests and you're like, I'm lost. I now need to know which one is the main one.
Yeah. And if there's too many quests, like these Assassin's Creed games, it makes it really hard to figure out what is even important, because if everything's important, nothing's important, right? So it makes you just... It makes the stuff that is actually or would have been meaningful less meaningful because there's just too much going on. So it kind of just like muddies the waters, I think, for what makes those games and the stories in those games really good. And yeah, it just makes it hard to like prioritize and figure out what you should be spending your time doing.
Speaking of time being wasted on these games, you've got a point in here about the wikis, and I don't mind a bit of a wiki deep dive, but I will stop playing just to like go down the click trail of like one specific point about a quest or about a thing in a game, and then we'll look up an hour later and be like, oh, well, I didn't need any of that information to do what I need to do, and I've now forgotten the thing that I was initially looking up. But yes, there's a lot of Wikipediaing that happens in an open world game, particularly if there's not a lot of hand holding. And I find that outside of a tutorial, most open world games don't do a lot of hand holding. You throw it to it and you figure it out as you go, which is it's a double-edged sword. It's good and it's bad.
Yeah, 100%. I think some games do a pretty good job of having like an in-game help system. I was quite surprised at Pocopia's in-game help. If you're not sure about something, you can look it up in the game's menus. and it actually does a pretty good job of explaining things. So, you know, I found myself going there first rather than just looking it up online, which is usually my go-to. I find sometimes, to your point, like looking up things in a Wikipedia can be can help the level of immersion that you have in a game. So like I haven't minded the time that I've spent looking up stuff for Starfield, though that's been very little, but it kind of has added to my enjoyment of the game more than taken away. But mostly it's related to things like crafting, you know, so, you know, it's not really necessary if you don't really want to do that kind of stuff. But if I have to like, yeah, literally look up things constantly, I'm usually out.
When you like can't remember the recipe for one thing and you're like, I'm not going back to that store to find out what I need for that particular thing. Yes, I've done a bit of that in my time.
Yeah, you, out of the two of us, you are the one that probably does more of the crafting stuff. So
I do love good craft, and I put on here rage.
You did, yes.
It's just specific to this game because I've tried it twice. I want to love it so bad. I'm very excited for the fourth one coming out where it's series is the playable character. I love Witcher lore. I've not read the series. I've done some wiki diving. I've tried to play this game. I have 1 and 2 to try as well. This game, I've gotten 10 hours in twice and I just can't. Just cannot get into it.
That is something we agree on.
It fills me with so much rage. Like, I want to love it. I want to love it. I love the concept. However, I think it may just be a book series for me.
Sure. Sure. What is it that induces so much rage in you? Like, what is it specifically about it?
I wish I could tell you it's a specific thing. Because I've gotten to not the same point twice. I've actually gotten to different points 10 hours in. But it is I think it is that not knowing what quest is important. And because you have like side quests, but some of them pertain to storylines. Some of them are contained and they're just a little thing, and that's fine. And I don't know whether I just ignore all side quests, but then you get experience from it. And I just do the main storyline, but you can't do the main storyline without experience, which you need from the side quests. Anyway, it just like love Geralt as a character. I think, you know, the author's done a really good job. I think they've done an excellent depiction of him in the games. Like the Witcher concept, like the monster hunter who's like not magic but kind of magic in there. And I've tried and I've given up.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you on that one. It's a game that's been recommended to me over and over again because of the story. And I also like I already struggle with like the, you know, the fantasy nature of it, which is like the biggest barrier to entry for me. But same thing, like I've played probably not as much as you. I have started it. I've started, I think, all of the Witcher games at least once and tried to play them. But yeah, I find myself overwhelmed. There's too many little things, but also I don't really connect with Geralt as a character. Like I don't really care for him. The NPCs, the other characters are far more interesting to me than Geralt for sure. But I might actually watch I know there's a TV show. I don't know if I'd read the books, but I might watch the show. No, you've tried? No good? Okay, then.
Look, I like the actors that were in it. The chick who played Yennefer did a really good job of portraying that particular character. The first season, I mean, I got bored during the second season. I never went back. But the first season depicts the first book, which is a series of short stories. So each episode is like one of those short stories, and you do get a good sense of these characters. If you watch it, maybe just the first season, and I don't know, tap out. But the first couple of episodes, I was like, what are we doing?
Why am I spending my
Yeah, I mean, I felt like it didn't start making sense until episode 3 or 4, and because they're so long and I suck at sitting still,
yeah,
I was just frustrated. But that being said, visually it's cool. Like the storylines do start to connect if you're willing to give it that time. I'm just less forgiving with time for me. I'm like, if you can't grab me, I'm out.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm part of the
I just wanted to mention
the short attention spans. Like I understand that.
Well, that's why I like to watch fantasy, really, rather than read it, you know, as we are opposites in that. But like, I like watching fantasy. I liked, I really loved Game of Thrones. Like, it's one of my favorites, you know. but I've read the first
I've read the
two.
first
Yeah,
book and I haven't watched it.
I know. Yeah, of course.
I know there's a dragon. I know Sean Bean dies. That's about it.
Spoilers.
Yeah. It's not a
Everyone
spoiler.
dies.
Sean
Everyone
Bean's
dies.
in it. This dude can't survive anything.
That's true, and literally everyone in that show dies anyway. So
Poor Sean Bean.
it's fine. There's one last thing I wanted to mention about open world games, and this is a little bit of a stab to a particular game studio, but also I think it's true.
I've seen the game studio.
which is just the amount of jankiness that a lot of open world games have, and particularly Bethesda. But I think like it's almost become a bit of a term of endearment.
Yeah, there are some really fun glitches.
Right? This is very true. This has always been the case since like the first Bethesda game I played was Morrowind, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. I never finished it. I was pretty young, but but like that Bethesda jank has been in the game since the very beginning, and it's still there, and it's still there in Starfield. Like I was just playing last night, and like your companion Sarah is just like, she was tagging along. We went, I don't know, traipsing around the galaxy looking for something in particular. We got there, and I turn around, and like Sarah's just like glitching and like jumping up and down on like the countertop, and kind of pushing me out of the way, like I'm trying to talk to this NPC. Like it's just.
This is why I love early access games, because some of those glitches are funny.
I mean, we were talking about making our own stories. Like that's a part of it, like the jankiness.
I was playing Enshrouded last night, and like when Jim and I first started playing it, it was really good. And like that's an open world game, like multiplayer game, and it's gearing up for release, like its actual release. And I don't know whether it's my computer or whether because they're just doing like a bunch of things in the back end, like they're patching every day, like they're getting it ready. And it was just like, I rage quit last night because it was so fucking janky. But there was like a point where like Rach and Jim were in there dying from enemies, and my character is just slowly floating away. Like away from them, and I'm like watching this like battle happen, and they're dead. And I'm just like, goodbye,
Bye.
I guess. I'm just slowly
just nope on out of there.
Just very Mary Poppins,
funny.
like just flew away.
Oh, that's great.
It's like time to quit and go to bed, I think.
Yep. Yeah, that was a hint.
So funny.
Yeah, no, the jankiness can be fun. That's true.
Bring it back. All right. So, open world gaming or linear storytelling. So this is quite an interesting point because I think we think similar things but different reasons.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably true. So I think, I mean, it's pretty obvious, I think, where I stand, and you will not be surprised for me to say that I prefer linear-based, linear storytelling. So if we go back to my example from before, the Mass Effect games, very, very linear stories. There is a narrative that is told over the course of, in this case, the trilogy. And you can't get out of it. If you're playing the game, you're going through that story. And it's a very focused, very intricate story that is telling you that you're experiencing. And there is a level of like you can, you can roam around in like in the levels. I guess there is a little bit of free roam, but it's not open world, right? And because of that, you get that focused storytelling. And that is my preference, and it's the same for like a whole bunch of games that I can list. So Dragon Age is much the same. That you can roam around, you can go places, but the story it tells you is mostly linear. Life is Strange, the Persona games, the Final Fantasy games, even Pokemon games. Like most of my favorite games are linear stories in the game with a little bit of free roam. And I like it because of the focus on the story.
I'm not a story focused gamer, so like I don't tend to care about any story elements. You asked me what the storyline of Fable is, couldn't tell you. I know that you are a person who does something in Albion and you work your entire thing to get to this point. Same with, I mean, I know sort of Lara Croft lore, but I'm thinking of the first of the New Word trilogy. They're like 15 years old now, but that game was quite linear. There wasn't a lot of, you could like explore the area that you were in, but you were very much directed in the story. Like you were doing something, you go into a particular tomb, the baddies. I've never forgiven the character's name, which I won't say for spoilers. Still hurts me. And I've played like the first one twice. In the second one, Rise of the Tomb Raider, they actually opened it up. So you were
Okay.
in Serbia, and it became more of an open world where you did have other quests that you could do. You were meeting other people. In the first game, it's just you, and you're just surviving. And you get to the end, and then at the end of it, you do whatever Lara Croft does and goes back to the big mansion. In the second one, because you're in Serbia, you're in an open world, you do come across other people. They give you quests that you can do or you can't do. You can just spend your time exploring Serbia and trying to survive this icy wilderness that you're in. And I found that I never finished that one because I was too busy exploring, and then once it explored, I'd turned it off. I haven't tried the third one, which is the Mayan, I think, is the
Right.
temples that they're in.
Mhm.
But I tend to prefer a game that feels like when you're going bowling and you've got the bumpers on the end. So there's still room to move. Like there's
I
still
like that.
plenty of freedom, but you just
Mhm.
gently get guided
Mhm.
to where you
Mhm.
need to be. So I guess to a point, like, because I like getting to the end of a game and feeling like I've accomplished something, but I also don't respond to that really well, where I'm just told what to do. So it's a
You
conundrum.
like it to be invisible.
Yeah, I want it to be there, but I don't want to feel like it's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I think that's actually a really good way to put it. I like that.
So I also
Mm.
prefer linear storytelling, even if I don't get super invested in the story. And that's why I want to like Witcher. I understand he's a monster hunter and we're hunting monsters. And outside of that, I don't really have to pay too much attention. You can. There's a lot of lore there that people like to delve into, and they have a lot of strong feelings about the characters in here. But for me, it's like, I'm a dude who hunts monsters. And to do that, I draw sigils or whatever they are, and I make potions. Um, but yeah, I guess same thing. I like a hybrid where I'm
Yeah.
being told what to do, but I don't feel like I'm being told what to do.
Yeah. No, I like that. I think, and that speaks to like really good game design. Like if you can pull that off and have it feel like an open world or like a, where you have a lot of freedom, but also you don't see the constraints that much. Like that's hard to do, I guess, which is why you don't see that very often. I feel the same about Mass Effect. Like it is very much like it's using your analogy. It's like it's like bowling with the little bumpers. Like it's it guides you and gently nudges you through this path, and you can't just go off and do something else. Like you have to go there. But it feels like you can go over here and explore and have a look behind that building, and there's a monster there to Geth or whatever to kill, or you can go pick up that something that's on there, resources or whatever. So yeah, like I think that's a really apt way to put it. Um, I think also just going back to that example you mentioned about Breath of the Wild earlier, and I said something about like you can see like a mountain in the distance and you can
Mm,
go there. It's the same with a lot of Bethesda games. There is a big difference between the feel of that in a game though, because like for example, in Mass Effect, right? Let's say Mass Effect 3, let's say you're in the Citadel and you look out the window and you can kind of see like all the flying cars and like how vast the Citadel, the expanse of it is, and it feels big. Like you feel the scale of the Citadel when you look out the window, even though you can't go there. Like it's not
mm.
in part of the game. It's basically just like a veneer. You can kind of see it. Whereas in something like Starfield and all the Bethesda games and Breath of the Wild, if you see something in the distance, you can go there. It's part of the game world. It's actually you can actually navigate to that place. But with Starfield, comparing Mass Effect Citadel, the city area, if you like, to a place called New Atlantis in Starfield, which is meant to be the capital of like the United Colonies. So it's meant to be huge, but it feels tiny
Yeah.
because you can go everywhere
Yeah.
pretty much. So, obviously they can't make it to that
Mm.
scale. So, you're confined, but it's funny because it's meant to be huge and they've allowed you to go everywhere in the city, but because, obviously they can't build all of that, it feels smaller than something like the Citadel on Mass Effect, which, you can't go everywhere, but it feels big.
Why that mystery element
Um,
of it.
yeah. So I think that's also a reason why I like that linear storytelling, because I got that sense of scope and scale in Mass Effect, even though I couldn't go there, where I felt a little bit confined. So it kind of feels like a little bit of a lie, which is, I think, what some of the criticism that Starfield has received as well.
False advertising.
It kind of, yeah. And it's kind of a double-edged sword because they've given us what we want. Like, we want to be able to go everywhere, but at the same time, it feels smaller as a result. So it's hard to do. If you're a game designer, it's a hard thing to do.
I think we mentioned both of them before, but I think a game franchise that does linear storytelling with an open world element really well is both Saints Row and GTA. One, they're urban, so it feels familiar to the people who are playing it. So that world doesn't feel very different to our own at all. It might seem far-fetched in the terms of Saints Row. I think GTA is a little bit more situated in realism, whereas Saints Row just went, you can have a bouncy ball gun and there's aliens here. Fuck shit up. Like, do what you want. We don't care. We literally don't care.
Yeah.
But I'll speak to Saints Row because I know that more. Generally, you're following 3 separate storylines, and they're in your periphery all the time, and they're saying, here's your main quests. You can do them if you want to. You don't have to. You can just explore the map. You can do all the mini games. You can set up your properties. You do not have to do them at all. But if you want to progress in the story, and there is a storyline there with each of the characters and each of the gangs that you're following, it's there for you in the periphery. And if you choose to do them, it is a linear story that you're finding with each set of stories that you're doing. I assume GTA is quite similar because I think the game is based off old GTA games. But yeah, I think it does really well if you want the concept of linear storytelling but don't want it to feel linear at all.
Yeah.
And this is what I felt with Fable as well. You don't have to do it, but it is recommended that you do it to get any context of what's happening around you. So I think those 2 franchises have done a really good job of putting those 2 things together.
Yeah. I 100% agree. Yeah. And I think it's funny. We joke a lot about how we like opposite things all the time. Very much extremes on either end. But I think, we kind of do agree on this. But like I said, I think that comes down to a good game design. I think you can really appreciate when a lot of thought and attention has gone into a game to make the story experience really good and really focused, despite having a big open world of which you can completely ignore the main story if you want. And it's always hard to do, I think, if you're a game developer, because you're putting all of this time and attention and love into this story that you're crafting, and the player can just go, I'm not going to do it.
I guess that's why you've got huge studios. And look, I hope we continue to see huge studios. I'm really worried about the amount of AI that's coming in. But just watching some of the behind the scenes of the new Fable has been really heartwarming to see just thousands of people being I'm in charge of storyline, and they're I'm in charge of a giant chicken. Because sometimes a character wants to beat up a giant chicken. And I was imagine that being on your resume, and I love that for that person.
Nice. Yeah, someone's got to take ownership
of it.
Someone
has to do the little bits and pieces, and art directors who are just there for rocks and trees. I'm that's awesome.
Yeah. 100%. There's a lot of love for that game. I think from the people who make it to the people who play it, I think it's sort of they don't want to mess it up because they know that would go badly, and there's a lot of people that really love it and want it to succeed. So yeah, I hope it's. I'm kind of excited for it now that you're talking about it.
Yeah, I can't wait. It'll be I say it'll be a day one. I said Crimson Desert was going to be a day one. I've downloaded it.
Get around to it.
I haven't loaded it up yet.
Something.
Yeah, it's there.
So speaking of then, yeah, what are the games then that we are looking forward to that have our attention? Do you want to speak a little bit about what your interest in that particular game is?
It's so funny. Ryan doesn't think this game is worth it all.
I haven't played it, so I can't speak from experience.
Well, look, I've heard very mixed things, so I'm quite excited. Look, I opened it and I downloaded it. That's about as far as I got.
Proof.
So I am very excited about Crimson Desert. The thing that excites me about that in particular is that it's built on exploration. There are things in there that don't excite me at all, like the combat being Souls-like. I will probably swear a few times when that happens. But the concept of your experience is built through exploration excites me, because I'm that I haven't really seen that in a game before, even with Breath of the Wild, where it is that concept of you can just go into all of these places. the story doesn't allow you to be in those places. Like you still need to follow a particular storyline, and you don't get experience in that. You just have to run away quicker because your level isn't quite
It's
as good.
true.
So I'm very curious to see how this does it. This is probably the most modern game that I've bought in the last, I don't know, 5 years.
Yeah.
That'll change when Fable comes out and when Witchbrook finally drops. Like
Yes.
they'll
Which
be
book?
like day ones. I mean, I've day one early access games before, but yeah, like in terms of modern multi-platformed games, that is the only one I've bought within the first month of it being around.
Yeah.
Um, there's a couple of others that I've got in my list that are open world that are kind of sandboxy. So the my time at so the first one was my time at Porsche, which I played and I enjoyed, but I thought there were things in it that could have been done better. And that's why I've put my time at Sandrock on here. Because of the criticisms I had for one, the developers have, to what I understand and what from the following it, have listened and really tried to implement some of those fixes. So I'm very curious to see how that has aged up,
Mm.
or has. And like my time at Evershine, it's in development. I don't think it's out yet, but that is the next one in the franchise. And I think, again, your characters are more adult in that one, which is quite an interesting concept. That particular series, in my opinion, or at least my time as Porsche, I'll speak to the one that I've played, doesn't necessarily offer anything new to the genre at all. It's very same for other things that you've played within that. But I'm curious
Yeah.
to see how it's changed.
That's interesting. I've played that one as well. Well, okay, I should, I shouldn't say that. I've played a bit of it, and I can see that's way more of a Chris game than it
Yeah,
is a Ryan game. I got so frustrated with that game, and I just put it down. But
surprised
also,
you
it
didn't
was
pick
like
it
super
up.
junky at launch.
Oh, my time at Porsche was janky as hell.
Yeah, still.
It's objectively not great, but I've like put
Yeah.
40 hours into it, and like it's
Yeah.
charming enough to, I don't know,
Mhm.
and it's cozy. The
It's
other one,
very deep, the gameplay as well.
yeah, they've thought about a few things in there, so I'm curious to see how that changes
Mhm.
or that develops. The other one that I've got in here is a Lord of the Rings game, which is Return to Moria, which essentially is your dwarves. And there's a few Lord of the Ring games that I'm interested in, but I think this might go down that linear storytelling with an open world. Um, so basically, you're going back into Moria to rebuild it as the dwarves. And I'm quite curious for that one. It's not a new game at all. It's been out for ages. It's just been on my wish list for ages. I haven't bought it yet. Apparently, it's great on Steam Deck, so
Oh, cool. Well, there you go.
a good one to try out there.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I've got a few. Obviously, GTA 6 is on the list. That's going to be the big open world game that everyone's going to be playing at the same time. I'm actually really excited for it, though. Like it'll be fun to be part of that when it happens. But that's kind of like when we think of open world games, that's the one everyone thinks about. But that one needs no explanation, really. The others, though, there is a game called Ananta, which is a gacha game. So, like, I don't really like gacha games at all. But it has a modern urban setting. And that is interesting to me and kind of what they've done with that. So I'm kind of cautiously curious about that one. I don't know if I'll play it, but it is going to be available on pretty much all platforms. And there's a game very similar to it. And I actually got these two mixed up initially when I thought they were the same game. I think a lot of people do think they're the same game. There's another game that's either just come out, and I think I don't know if it's in pre-release still, or it's coming out this week. Which is called Neverness to Everness, and it's also a gacha game, right? So they're basically very, very similar games, just completely different studios. Same thing, it's very modern urban setting, and it kind of takes a lot of other types of games and kind of combines it all into this game. But it's kind of like it's very anime, I should say. It's like got a very anime, graphic style to it. So it kind of seems like anime Grand Theft Auto. Which is I think a lot of people were saying that about it. I don't know if that's actually true. I don't think so. I think it's just kind of one of the many things that you can do. You can just go and steal a car if you want. But yeah, I'm curious.
Like that's why I love
Who
the
doesn't?
modern games. Like
course.
Just a lot, and like I will get the jankiest piece of shit car because it's funny, and just drive it for an
Just drive
hour
around
across
in
the
that.
map. Yeah,
Yeah, hell yeah. It's the same with Starfield. Like one of the reasons I love it so much is I can just go steal a ship if I want. It's great. So anyway, I'll report back once I've decided if I'm going to play those or not. And then two others. One is an Ubisoft game, so not new, but it's Star Wars Outlaws. I'm now that I've got the PS5 Pro, I'm kind of interested in picking that one up to see how well it plays. Don't know, is it?
Well, it's there's an EA publisher sale at the moment
On Steam? Or...
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'll probably pick it up on if I get it for PS5, I'll get the physical copy. So I'll probably pay more than I actually need to, but I'll probably find it in a bargain bin somewhere, I'm sure. But so there's that one, and then also one that's coming out in July, and you mentioned it, I think, last episode, which is Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. So I've not played Black Flag. I don't know if I'm going to play it, but yeah, I'm sure it'll look very pretty.
I think we should play it and talk about it because I've never played an Assassin's Creed game.
Never at all. Not one.
They've never interested me.
Oh, wow.
Rachel,
well, this is the pirate one. So
Rachel played Odyssey. That's the only reason I care.
Same, to be honest. Hit
me up with the naval seas. Give me a ship and a musket and I'm off.
That's all I need in life.
So yeah, like I'm interested in playing it. I've been thinking about getting on the Switch for ages, but now that I've got the Steam Deck, I'll probably just wait till the pretty new one comes out and I'll get that. What a topic!
Ooh. Yeah,
look at the big time. Yeah, I mean, as are open world games.
That's true.
I guess it was predetermined that it was going to be a big topic. So, and we've also already kind of covered coming right up, like what we're excited for. Is there anything sort of, I guess, read or watch that you're excited for, that you want to chat about?
Only one, and I'll keep it very short because there's not much to say about it yet, but it's Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu, which will be out in cinemas very soon. I don't know if I'll see it at the cinema. I might just wait till it comes on streaming, but I am excited for it because I really love The Mandalorian TV show, and it's going to be more of that, basically. And yeah, I'm kind of down for that.
I had to look up mine because I did not prepare that earlier. Yeah, I've got a couple of movies, actually. There's actually a lot coming out between April and May, which is really not great for me since I'm leaving at the end of May, and like they won't be available to be on my phone.
Yeah, that's true. On the plane. You might get it on the plane, maybe.
I might have to wait till we get back. But so Apex has just come out. This is Charlize Theron and Taron Egerton. Taron Egerton does an Australian accent, which I fucking hate in cinema. We sound bad, and like when people force it, they also sound bad. Like their accent's like great. But this is a survival. I love Charlize Theron in an action flick. I really don't care what it is normally.
Yes.
Like she is so good in action movies, and I just love that she's entered middle age and she's like, fuck you, I'm gonna be doing these stunts.
I'm gonna rock it.
I'm gonna be rock it, and she does it so well. So I'm very much looking forward to that. If we don't end up going to the concert tonight, we'll probably be watching that as a family unit. And there's one that I just came across the trailer called Ladies First, which is coming out in May. Have you heard of it?
Okay. Never.
So go watch the trailer. I think you'll enjoy it. This might be a UN Steph one to watch together. So it is basically, what if women get away with what white men get away with in this current world? And it's set as a comedy, and Rosamund Pike is at the helm.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And the trailer made me chortle in several parts. Because it's Sacha Baron Carter, is that his name, and Rosamund Pike in the leads, and it's just, he treats people like crap. It's that concept of what women want, where like amnesia happens, which isn't my favorite trope, but then all of a sudden women are running the world and treating men the way that men treat women, and it looks so funny. Like it's satire, but it's also a very serious topic, and I hope they do it justice. It's a lot of fun.
If it can straddle that line between like keeping it funny, but also tackling the seriousness.
Also being like, hey.
Yeah, and making a comment.
Do better.
Yeah. I'm down for that.
But yeah, it looks really funny. So I made Rachel watch the trailer and we're both giggling. So I think
Nice.
that comes
Okay.
out towards the end of May.
Okay, well, I have made a note because if I will take anything that Steph will be like even remotely interested in, if there's a chuckle, then we're watching it.
Hey, fight the patriarchy, have a laugh, love it. And that one's on Netflix, so at least I
Tagline.
can download that one to watch on the plane.
Okay, good, nice.
Did we want to do Backlog Roulette?
We can.
Want to give it a go?
It's up to you. Yeah. So I didn't watch the last one, as I mentioned in the beginning. But I'm down for some movies. So like, if you want to do one, I'll happily pick a movie. See what happens.
I'm probably going to go game, I think, this time around. Let me share. And I still haven't watched the movie that you told me to watch, which was Momentum.
Oh yeah, right, for the Wheel of Chaos. That's fine. We've got another
month for that. Yeah, we'll have to figure out when we're doing that since I'm away. All right, I've loaded my wheel because I was uploading stuff. So I'm going to go for a game since I've been leaning into gaming, and I've done a movie the last couple of times, and I'm not reading, so I don't want to set myself up for failure. We'll go a game for me. This is what I'm going to be doing. I hope it's not a big one. Motherfucker.
Yeah, it's like the biggest one on the list.
Biggest one on the list. You know what? This is another franchise that I really wanted to get into. I played Diablo 1, I think. Like,
oh wow,
so many years ago. Like, it was pixelated still.
Yeah. Wow.
And I've owned Diablo 3 on multiple platforms for a very long time. Diablo 4 is now out. So I don't know whether I'm going to gel with this franchise or game at all. I quite liked the pixelated one that I played, or what I remember of it back in the day. But it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So okay, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I'm a big fan of. I've played 3 and 4, and yeah, loved them, and they're great. And there's a new expansion I think that's just come out for 4, so it's still going strong.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, we'll get there at some point. Just keep it on the list.
Okay.
It might be today. Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah.
This is Ryan's.
Oh, wow. Okay. The Boondock Saints. Well, that's been on my list for a long time.
I haven't heard of this one.
Yeah, I remember, well, actually, Jack recommended it when he was going through some of his favorite movies. I think that one came up. So, yeah, I was like, yep, I'll put that on the list. And I've got so many films that are just like, massive movies at the time that I just have not seen. So, yeah, that's one of them.
If you like that.
So, Diablo 3 for you.
Is that a young Norman Reedus? No. Oh, it is a young Norman Reedus in the Boondock Saints.
It might very well be. I actually have no idea.
Maybe. Not the rough Norman Reedus we see in Walking Dead. Well, I think that is us for this. That was good.
It was a good chat. Yeah, we talked about a lot, and I think these kinds of episodes are kind of my favorite ones where we can just we have a lot to say about a particular topic. So I will absolutely be playing more Starfield. I'm not stopping. I'm going all in.
I think we should do some more of these with other genres, like maybe tackle sandbox as well, because I'm such a big sandbox. The sim, the life sim as well. There's a lot of elements of what is a sim game, because people go, oh, it's The Sims. Like it's not. There's so many other things that this incorporates. For you, point and click, I'll have to play some more point and click.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of different things that I don't like point and click games, but I'm sure I can find something to complain about.
I'm sure we'll find one that you like. I'm determined to find.
I know. I can see with your Wheel of Chaos has got point and clicks in there. Side scrollers. There's so many games. So many games.
Yeah, that's true. There's so many. The gaming genres have just exploded lately. Like there's combinations of different genres and stuff. So.
It reminds me to download Nocturnal because it's free today. It's a side scroller.
Cool. Is that on Steam?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Free Steam game. I'm all for those. Yeah.
Anyway,
nice.
I'll let you do an ad right now.
All right. So, well, thank you all for watching or listening. Hope you enjoyed the episode as much as we enjoyed recording it today. links to all the games that we talked about. There's probably a lot of them, so I'm going to shove them all in the show notes. So go for your life. But you can find the show over at on YouTube or in your podcast player of choice. Or you can head on over to genreblender.net, which is basically a database of all the content that we've done, all of our videos and podcast episodes, and some written articles as well, if that's your jam.
And to all the world hoppers out there, we wish you safe travels, and we will catch you next month, hopefully at the end of May, as I'm not here in June. So we'll try and get another one out before I go.
Get a sneaky episode in before. Yeah. Cool. All right,
Until then, take care.
Take care, everyone.
Ciao.
Bye.